Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Black Girl Flow podcast. We are super honored and grateful that you guys are joining yet another episode. We hope that you guys are all doing well and surviving the changes of daylight savings time. I was looking outside yesterday and it was 6 p.m. and it was completely pitch black dark, and I was like, you cannot pay me $1 million to tell me that it is 6 p.m. right now. And
That's
each
real.
year I act like it's not a thing, and I get surprised at daylight savings time, like for the first time ever. And so now I'm just like, wow, like now we're just gonna have to ride this wave out till really like springtime, and it's always like a shock to my system.
Yeah, are you saying that it just has not been a good one?
Yeah, I feel like for my pulse check this past week was really challenging for me. I don't know. There were like a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but like there was a lunar eclipse. And then, you know, I think Mars is in retrograde. Something's in retrograde.
Yeah.
And I just felt super drained and like lethargic. It was a state of wanting to learn and not do. Like you couldn't pay me to like really do my work or do anything. Like I was like, this was one of those weeks where I was like, I could actually just be in meetings and like not do anything.
No deliverables, no next steps, no action items.
No action items or anything like that. And I feel like since I'm on birth control, it's sometimes really hard for me to tell if it's because I'm on my period or if it's because the state of the world is just really heavy or the planets are like awry and like doing crazy things.
I feel like that's such a self-aware girly that's like, I want to be able to take accountability, but like I'm really not sure if it's me or if it's you.
Literally, and my brother was like, maybe it's daylight savings. It's like there's just a lot that's going on. So I'm just wishing peace and abundance on all of the girlies that also felt that energy. Obviously, well, this episode is pre-recorded, so
yes, which we don't do often, and it's definitely for a reason. So we're definitely hoping everybody has had a spectacular and fantastic Thanksgiving. But Liv and I have some bad news for everybody.
Oh yeah, coupled on like the fact of me feeling so lethargic for the month of November. But I'll be in Atlanta for the rest of the year,
which means we're breaking up, y'all.
I know.
Y'all were right
told
about
me
all
to get my ish and get the F out of the house.
Yeah, we should have listened to the TikTok trolls. This wasn't gonna last.
I know. They were like, "Don't live with your best friend.
Don't do it." And we were like, "We're different.
We're gonna do it, guys." I'm literally only gonna be gone for a month.
But I like to act like we're breaking up.
Yeah.
And I'm being a little bit there's not a lot I can be melodramatic about, but this one I literally every other day I'm like, Liv, are you excited to go home?
I know.
And she's like, yeah, I'm super excited. And I'm like, oh, that's nice.
You're like, oh, wrong answer, sweetie. Let's roll that back again.
I am patiently waiting for you to be like, no, Lexi, I'm actually kind of scared. Can I stay? And I'd be like, yes, you can.
Listen, if only Durham was 2 hours from Atlanta,
I know,
that would be like the
changer.
Perfect distance.
Yeah.
And if I could come back like during that time, I would. It's just the 6 hours.
It's the coulda, woulda, shoulda for me, y'all. It's what she needs to be doing. No, it should be really good. And I'm happy that you get to spend some like good quality time back at home and like really just plugged in. And you really do get that like comfort that some of us have, some people might be striving for, of like when you have your stuff in one place and you get to like go and come back. You know, it's not kind of this big thing. So if anything, it feels like a big accomplishment for you too.
It's always like a weird feeling though, going back home, because because I like having my own space. I like having my own routine. I feel like when I travel back home, everything's thrown off. And I find when you establish community in a different space and like your friends have moved on from like high school and middle school, whatever the case is, you're kind of like, all right, well, twiddling your thumbs a little bit. So it is like a little bit of like coming in, when I go home, I have to come in like mentally prepared to really be on my own vibe. Cause it's like, I'm going to be around family, but they have their own lives and routines and relationships and everything like that. So I am, even though I think it's like about me coming home and everyone's super excited to have me home, that's like actually not the case, right? They're just like, okay, it's so good to just have you around, and now we can go back to regularly scheduled programming. And I'm like, why am I here? But it's okay. I'm not going to make it about myself.
Y'all forgot to order the red carpet. Did you know the queen was back in town?
And I'm the type of like daughter, like when I come home, I'm like, Mom, the place needs to be spotless. Like when I come back home.
Oh my gosh. What is it when artists in their artist contract, it's like she's like, and I need the fridge stocked with my favorite kombucha. And I'd like Skittles, but please pick out all the purple ones. I don't want them like, artists have those contracts.
Yes, I know exactly that's what it's giving. Yeah. I don't mind it giving that. I just know that like when I come back home, there's nothing worse than leaving your clean space and then walking into a space where it's like, girl, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So I just like to have that. And I think, disclaimer, my mom's not messy, but shout out to my brother. I love you very much, but he can be,
a little tornado.
A little. So I'm just like, okay, if I'm coming back home, these are my expectations.
I need you to set the vibes.
Please let me know if I'm the only person that does that.
Don't look at me. I'm definitely not one to speak. Granted, my mother is Rosa Roberts. So
your mom is like super like clean and organized and everything. So I think we just have, if you don't have to worry about those things, then like that's a different thing. But if you're in a situation like me, please let me know I'm not the only person, because you're making me sound like a little diva. Like
no. I just think I think that's good that you're like, these are the things I need to be able to come into this space
to feel good. Yeah.
But I think this kind of puts us perfectly into our episode of, we've kicked off the holidays. We're like doing all the good things. I'm hoping that it's like I get some good rest, and I'm really excited to have my family close nearby. They live North Carolina. We're going to be playing board games, going on family big bike rides, just chilling. We're like a very good at chilling family. But then we're really kicking off into December, and this is like full swing into the holidays, the busyness. And so we really wanted, before we got too looped into that busyness, is to just ground ourselves with a good affirmations for the whole month of December and how we want to hold space and what we want to bring to us. And we've done a couple of affirmation things before, but we really haven't like dived into like what really is affirmations and how it can be a tool in your toolkit to kind of use in your own mindfulness practices. So we wanted to take some time to really dive deeper into just what are affirmations and what affirmations we want to hold for December.
Yeah, I always love a good affirmations episode, because I think the more that we remind ourselves that we are divine and that we are purposefully aligned and becoming the person that we want to be, the more we are able to feel less anxiety for being in a certain space in life, and feel less anxiety for, just like the visions that we have for ourselves. Yeah. Like Gen Z, like we're the dreamers. We want to imagine the most elaborate, like, life for ourselves, and we envision a life where we don't have to work super hard and like slave away and hit all of these societal boxes to become the person that we want to be. So as we're entering Sag season, I feel like my affirmation for you all is to, for one, trust yourself. I think that I see a lot of people online kind of doubting their capabilities, doubting their relationships with others, doubting what they're here to do. We feel very lost right now because the world feels very heavy, but like, trust yourself, know that you are being divinely guided, and know that you're exactly where you need to be in the process. Because when you start to enjoy the journey instead of focusing on the destination, and you're able to center yourself and understand that the present moment is the most important moment, and grounding yourself in love and gratitude, then you're able to take that attitude towards whatever you do, and understand that even some of the most mundane things aren't actually mundane. Like, they can teach you lessons. And also, like, when you're done with figuring out and doing all the mundane things, when you come across something that's really exciting and inspires you, then you're able to lean into that more and feel more aligned and feel like excited, and just understanding that like life is a pendulum. you know, like
Ooh,
accepting the good times.
That was like a whole bedtime meditation right there.
In the bad times. Yeah. I think for me this year, realizing, because it's so crazy, like we're already in December. The year's flown by. Yeah. It's been like the longest, but shortest year. And I think that's kind of how like time feels a lot of the time.
And the past couple ones have been hell in a handbasket.
Yeah. But I think this year I've learned that just because you experience bad things, like that doesn't mean that that has to encompass like your entire, you know, identity or your entire lens of seeing the world.
And I think when you say that, that brings up a core component for me of the value of affirmations. Because y'all, I don't know if you know this is about my personality, but I'm the corny police.
Yeah.
If something's like a little bit too corny, I'm like, that's corny.
Flag
We're not
on the
doing
play.
that. And I think sometimes when we don't really understand the power and the purpose of affirmations, we miss this incredible tool of doing exactly what you said. Of life is hard.
Yeah.
Tough things happen. Bad things happen. We have really bad days and we have really great things, beautiful things. Life is an abundant space. And affirmations are such a tool of sometimes because we're just going through our days, we're having so many conversations with ourselves. And we might not realize that sometimes we get ourselves caught up in those conversations and we're actually speaking over our own experience and our own, you know, not only our own personhood, but our own reality in a negative way. And these affirmations can help us shift our mindset and our perspective to not say that those things don't happen, but to ground ourselves. And I think this is such an incredible tool to really do that. And it just always speaks to how powerful our words really are. And when we ground ourselves. So when I realized that that was the purpose, I was like, okay, that's not corny.
Yeah.
You know, it's not corny sitting in front of yourself in the mirror and saying that before you head off for your day. Or if you're getting really stressed, just sitting for a second with your feet on the ground and saying, you know, I'm exactly what I need, where I need to be, doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
That's so powerful.
Absolutely. I think this year too, I realized that I actually sometimes struggle with anxiety, which is crazy because if you told me that, I would not have believed you because I'm very calm in sometimes very stressful situations. And I'm not someone that is like outwardly anxious. Like I'm very chill, sometimes too chill. And so when I started realizing that anxiety was something that like kept coming up in my everyday life, journaling and having affirmations and reminding myself was like such a powerful tool to help calm my anxiety and understand that like I'm not alone in this. And I think that's the purpose of affirmations, like recognizing that you're not alone and that you have a powerful community of people that's like pushing your spiritual growth. And I think that we are all innately such spiritual and divine beings, unique in our own way. And so when you're able to tap into the idea that you are one of one and that no one else on this earth is like you, and that you bring your own unique flair to any situation and any room that you enter, then it's like when you're trying to manifest something, you're like, of course I deserve that. Like I have that. Like it's not even I want that. It's like I'm so excited that like I have the opportunity to have this. Speaking about it in the present and, you know, in the present moment instead of like, I want this in the future moment, recognizing like, no, the person that I am today, like is so deserving of love and the highest quality of life and a supportive group of people and an amazing lover and healthy relationships and healthy boundaries and anything that I like want for myself, I have. And also learning how to like live in the moments. That's why I say like being present, living in the moments of like, even though this might not reflect my present moment, still being happy with what you have and believing in your capabilities, trusting yourself so that when that time happens, like when the time comes, you're like, like I'm so grateful that, you know, now I have this new thing and I'm able to show gratitude towards it and like carry on with my life.
You've already positioned yourself to receive that goodness.
Absolutely.
Which again, in my mind, it gives me literally the goosebumps because that's what I see as the holiday season too, in so many ways, of being present and being grateful for what you have and spending this time with people around you, surrounded by love, to make those like, and I hope for this next season we get to do this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And it's all of these like good well wishes and, you know, just kind of magical little burst of energy and things like that. But that doesn't mean that it is always that, right? Because what you're saying of our situation might not always reflect that, but it's like this little piece of goodness and being in the present moment. And I really encourage everybody to think about how they can incorporate that in their day to day. It simply could be, and this is what I love about it, because it's like, it's not a one size fits all. It's like, take this tool and figure out what it looks like in your life. You could literally write your affirmations on a sticky note and put them on your mirror. And when you're brushing your teeth before bed, you're saying them to yourselves. When you're in the shower, you're saying them to yourselves. In the morning time, it could be in that way. Yeah. Or it could just be, and I remember seeing my mom do this, and I was like, that's so powerful. She, you know, is getting a little bit older and sometimes has a hard time navigating technology as like a goober, you know, elder baby or younger baby boomer is. And she told me, she's like, if I struggle with it, I'd be like, like, you're so stupid. Like, you're so, you know, why don't you get it? Why don't you get it? She's like, I don't want to be talking about myself like that. Right. So she started reframing it, being like, I don't understand, but I'm going to learn. And just like that, I'm like, that's an affirmation. That's literally doing it. Yeah. And so I think I take that a little bit more in my day to day, like, how am I speaking about myself in moments that I'm really frustrated, or I'm getting just like, this has been like the absolute worst. I'm, you know, just had such a bad day. It's like, actually, I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm complete. I have love. I am love. And it just helps reframe those negative thoughts. And we could go to the psychology of it all. There's so much benefit in that, actually being able to alleviate a lot of stress that we carry with us. Yeah. And that to me feels like a superpower.
I just got the warm and fuzzies listening to that. I think the past 2 years has been like the toughest for so many people. And I realized like I've been on autopilot for a lot of that time, just like self-soothing, and maybe disassociating a little bit, like with all of the things that I lost during the past 2 years. And like, there's just such beauty in the journey that we are experiencing right now. Even with all of the losses and the gains, like the fact that we're still here and that we still choose to do things that further our higher self's growth and do things like with love in mind and put like one foot forward each day, like getting up, even listening to the podcasts, like our favorite podcasters, like things like that have really transformed the way that I look at the world. And I look at kind of like my place, even when I feel alone. Having a pen and paper, I'm telling you, y'all, will like transform the way that you contextualize your thoughts and the way that you're able to understand what you're feeling. Sometimes we just need like the most simple things to get us out of a funk, and sometimes we just have to sit in a funk and understand that this too shall pass for us to be able to get to the next hump. But like, that funk is going to lead to so much understanding and so much like goodness. Exactly.
And for Black women specifically, everybody got something to say about us, so we better be speaking highly about ourselves and the women around us. Like, you ain't gonna catch me. And especially since I would never let you talk bad about yourself, right? So I got to make sure I'm not talking bad about myself. Absolutely. And we can always go back to this tool to be like, no, what are we embodying? What do we have access to? And all of a sudden, the treasure trove of the universe opens up into our hands.
Yeah, there is this, I think it was The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck. I want to say that was the book that talked about talking to yourself like you have a roommate in mind. Oh. You know? So it's like, actually, like, would I allow my roommate to talk to me like this? That's or would I talk to my roommate like this? Like,
and you have an actual example of that.
I actually have a roommate that I love and care for, so I would not.
Which is funny too, because it's like, I always joke that there's like 3 people. Everybody has that kind of voice in their head kind of thing. So I think that's a very relatable metaphor for that too.
Lexi thinks I have the Wizard of Oz in my head.
I do think she has the Tin Man, the Scarecrow.
I think we all do to a certain extent.
The lion. And she's Dorothy. It's a very vivid visual for me.
If you spend a lot of time around me, maybe you'll see me like looking and talking internally. But
well, I hope all of you take into December some type of affirmation. Even if you think it's corny and you're like, oh, I don't even want to say this out loud to myself, write it down on a piece of paper, maybe commit to saying it every day, or find some way to incorporate affirmations into your December and see how it changes how you're interacting with the space.
Yeah.
See if there's that benefit for yourself just by those little tiny reframings of our negative thoughts into positive ones. And I look forward to hearing about how everybody does with that.
Yeah, let's end 2022 on a positive note, y'all, with the most love and the best, I don't know, affirmations and memories. Yeah, the best vibes that we can conjure up before the year ends. So with that, we are closing out our episode. Thank you all so much for joining us again, and peace, love, blessings to you all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.
All right, that wraps up our episode this week.
We'd really appreciate if y'all could rate us on Apple and Spotify, as it really helps grow our BGF tribe and support our podcast.
As always, the conversation continues on Instagram and TikTok, so connect with us there if you want to join in on all the keys.
With that said, we will see y'all next time.